Hey Peaches, today's Pick a Card Tarot reading is all about healing from a heartbreak. So we're going to look into what caused it, what cords you need to cut, and then the first steps to take towards healing it. Okay, here we go.
Stack 1 is the deer, stack 2 is the bunny, and stack 3 is the baby chick. There's the timestamp, so you can go ahead and choose and skip right to your reading. Alright, stack 1, the deer. You have the Hermit, the Knight of Staves, that's the Knight of Wands, and you have the Ace of Staves, the Ace of Wands, and then you have Happily Ever After. So, there, that glare just drives me crazy. As an overview, I'm seeing the heartbreak, the cause of it being what they call an almost relationship. But if you can heal this, it's not likely to ever happen like this again. You can sort of like create lifetime protection from it. So this is going to be hopefully very helpful for that. But here we go. For the Ace of Wands as the source or root cause with Happily Ever After, this is why I say an almost relationship. And I really, really get that this sucks. Almost relationships are notorious for being more difficult to move on from than regular breakups. So like in a regular breakup, the loss has defined edges. You know the person, you know what happened, you have something to work with, something to learn, something to apologize for and do better, something to forgive and look for differently next time. Memories, resentments, closure is the big one. But the almost relationship, the loss has no edge and no boundary. It's as limitless as your mind made the potential to be. It's unquantifiable dashed hopes, false promises made by your imagination. It's like an idealized image that you won't know the reality of. I promise you I've been there. I was hung up on something that was only... It was just this big bang of a beginning that didn't move on to step 2. And I was hung up on it for over 10 years. And I finally got partial closure and I moved on to get the rest of that closure to close that out. But so I see sparks flying, intense physical chemistry. And it's this explosive beginning. And that's it. Everything this felt like it had the potential to be didn't materialize. And so for what cords to cut, you have the Knight of Wands. And sometimes we readers, we have to do some interpretation of some nebulous energies, but this might as well be spelled out in plain English. They've made it very simple. It is that person. The Knight of Wands is that person. It's the source of this fiery energy that lit up your heart and your imagination, your fantasies running wild. But this is not a loyal energy. There's nothing particularly ill-intended here, and the attraction was mutual in the moment, but this is someone always seeking the next thrill. And it's not that they didn't choose you. This energy doesn't really choose. It acts on one impulse to the next. They're an adventure seeker. And this energy doesn't have the maturity for Happily Ever After, and it doesn't see that after the initial spark wears off, there has to be more. There has to be shared values, shared vision, something to talk about, the ability to communicate when times get tough, when real life sets in. And they'll be seeking a long time in this energy before they understand commitment to anything, not just a person. It could be their job is the same way. But their idea of Happily Ever After is like an unsustainable spark that lacks nuance, some kind of non-existent perpetual state of bliss. And if you allow them access so that they keep popping in and out, they're going to keep reigniting hope and string you along and occupy space that someone else deserves, namely you, but also a potentially stable partner. So, for the first steps to healing, you have the Hermit. Now, my personal, not tarot related 2 cents is that dating would be a good thing. but I did ask the cards the first step. So this is a little process to do before getting out there is all. Otherwise, my opinion is that isolating would be an otherwise unhealthy strategy to get over this in the long run. So yeah, if you rush out on a rebound, it will not be productive. You'll be like one of those paddle balls on the elastic string, just bouncing back and forth, back and forth. You need to strengthen your relationship with yourself and go out there solid in your own identity and truth. And doing so is going to help immunize you against idealizing everyone that you have sexual chemistry with. And there will be plenty. There will be plenty of that. So put yourself on that pedestal for a little while. I mean, don't stay there. I'm not trying to create monsters or anything, but create a checklist of your standards so that someone has to tick off more than that first box before they gain access to your heart. You deserve so much more than almost anything. I mean, you deserve more than almost stuff. You deserve more than someone who isn't available. You have to choose you first. I see that you're fearless and you believe in love. And the more of that you invest in yourself, the better you'll recognize your equal when you meet them. This person was not your equal. You're more than almost. Almost is not enough. They brought you almost, and that is not up to your standards. Or it won't be when you can kind of do some of this work. So if you need a little bit more, go ahead and comment stack 1, and I will pull one more card to get just a little bit of more personal detail for you. Okay, thank you. Stack 2 is the bunny. You have the 3 of Wands in reverse, the High Priestess, and the 6 of Wands in reverse. And you have environmental awareness as your overall theme. So this is showing you being very sensitive to what's going on in the world around you. And I feel like your heart is breaking for what it feels to be like a collective energy more than something very personal in your life. I mean, it is your life, but something that's it's bigger than that. You know, with the 6 of Wands in reverse as an explanation of what happened or is happening, it's like people around you don't seem to care. And you feel to me to be surrounded by people and still lonely. And everyone is concerned about their own little bubble and not seeing the bigger picture, that if we don't work together, we'll fail together. I feel like everyone is so eager to tear others down rather than lift someone up. And there's a lack of leadership here. Or maybe even a sense of being misled. It's that whole diffused responsibility phenomenon where if there's a crisis, the more people there are to witness it, the less likely someone will do something because there are so many other people. Like someone else will, everyone thinks that someone else is going to do it. But if you're alone in a crisis or with a smaller group, it's more likely that a hero will emerge. So there's a sense of grief over a perceived lack of collective responsibility at the cost of the future of your children, of humanity, basically. And it may sound dramatic to some, but if you're an empath, it probably doesn't sound that dramatic at all. It probably sounds like a Tuesday, actually. So for what you need to cut cords, you have the High Priestess. And so somehow you need better protection from taking on the energies of others. It's like you've been absorbing a lot of collective pain that may not even be yours to begin with. So you may have thousands of cords to cut of people you don't even know personally. And doing that, it calls for like grounding, connecting to nature may help. But instead of absorbing the collective human fear of having no idea how to save ourselves, use your intuitive gifts to hear what knowledge nature has to share about what she needs. Maybe she's asking for something and she's getting ready to evict us if we can't figure it out. I mean, that's just me talking now. I don't know. Anyway, there's other techniques out there. Like I read salt bath is one, or smudging is another. I mean, you'll want to research it. I'm no expert, but it's what you're being advised to do here. And there's a sense of overexposure to the collective shadow through social media. And we're all moving more and more of our lives online, and it's creating this illusion of insulation from the damage our planet is sustaining. And it's as though we've abandoned her for this digital illusion existence. And so it's weird that we're all so much more connected to each other and yet collectively disconnected from what keeps us alive in the very real physical sense. So turn off the screens and go outside is the best simple advice I can give you right now. And the first step to healing, you have the reverse Three of Wands. And this is reiterating to stop looking out there. It's saying that you're the leader that you're looking for. And the funny thing is, trying to lead in an online space, it feels like shouting underwater. The message just does not carry. But you're leading out of the dream world into the material world that so badly needs our attention. It's crying out for our attention. You ever watch a movie or a news story and someone starts crying on the screen and you can't even help it, you start crying too? It's the same with this grief. It's like the whole earth is crying out. So our instinct to relieve empathic grief is to try to fix it, right? To try to alleviate the grief of another. You want to make them stop crying somehow. So now, can you save the world all by yourself? No. I mean, it's not what I'm trying to say here. It's, in fact, I don't even think individual consumption is driving as much of the problem as huge corporations, but whatever. You do have to narrow your sphere of consciousness back into proportion with your sphere of control, if that makes sense. When there's a huge gap there, it's like a vessel for despair. And you're a leader, you don't have time for despair. You need to start in your own little orbit. The Three of Wands reversed, it says to me to stop thinking globally and start thinking locally. There, I knew if I talked long enough, I'd figure it out. Think locally. The world is very unlikely, it's giant. It's unlikely to see you or to see your example, to read your article or whatever it is. But your community very well might. And they may be feeling, there might be someone there feeling exactly the same way, wishing they weren't alone and wishing someone would take the lead. Then a community acting together is more likely to get regional attention and so on. So close that despair gap and think and act locally. So that's what I have for you for the moment. If you want me to pull one more card to get just a little bit more detail for you personally, comment stack 2, and that's what I'll do. Okay, thank you. All right, stack 3, the little bitty chick. You have the Tower. You have the 8 of Coins in reverse, and then you have the Page of Coins with Peace of Mind. Okay, so I'm seeing, not a glare, haha, okay. This is all looking like it's job related. Page of Coins with the Peace of Mind, it's as though you've lost a job or didn't get a job that you'd hoped to. It could also be a business that's like hitting some roadblocks and isn't growing into something that could sustain you. At least not yet. And it's like you're not, I see you not asking for that much, just the basics. And life seems determined to make that difficult right now. You're not alone in that right now. Maybe sales are slow. Maybe expenses are too high. Maybe there's been some unexpected expenses. But it's like you've tried to save and prices just keep going up and you're right where you've always been, starting over and over and over at square one. And I think the persistence of the difficulty, I'm seeing it's just, for whatever reason, it's the straw that's broken the camel's back at this point. So, for what cords to cut, that being the 8 of Pentacles in reverse, I would say detach from comparisons to people who make it look easy. Stop paying attention to people or articles trying to sell you these passive income programs or who are selling the influencer lifestyle. Or the I quit my job to sell stickers on Etsy and I make $1 million and so can you. Don't fall for outliers. Or don't let them make you feel like a failure at the least. Be wary of anyone. Beware of people selling a class to learn how to make money doing something because that person is spending more time on that class than doing the thing. They're making their money from selling that program. They're not making their money from doing the method itself, or they wouldn't be doing it. I'm not saying that's 100% true, but in a lot of cases that's... And definitely ignore all the people saying people just don't want to work, because that is so just... It's not true. It's a flat out lie. I mean, it's... At least it's certainly not true for you. And people don't... People don't want to only work. We're sick of it. And all you want is work-life balance. And you can achieve that without quitting altogether and taking a huge financial risk. It just takes time. And this may sound obvious, but cut ties to whatever you've tried over and over and over and it isn't working. There are times in situations where persistence and consistency, they just need time to do their cumulative magic. And then there's other times where it just isn't working and it's time to stop pushing on a door that says pull, right? So for your first step to healing, you have the Tower. And so you have to break free from some safety structure in your life, which may sound crazy when all you want is peace of mind. But the safety structure they're talking about is an illusion. So when the Tower, people freak out about the Tower. Nothing built well falls when the Tower comes out. Like they say, happy marriages don't just end, right? There's something the matter when the Tower brings something down. Things that are built on shaky foundations. So it does kind of say here to scrap something and try again differently. Maybe the idea that you must only seek work in a certain industry because you've always done it and it feels safe. But maybe you're meant to be free of that and apply for something completely different. Or maybe you're meant to be free of the epic responsibility of being your own boss, and there's a freedom in being on the clock and then totally off when you're not. The idea of being your own boss sounds romantic until you realize how hard it is to take off work. Not as free as you thought. Or not having a reliable paycheck isn't helping with that old peace of mind either. So I'm not advocating for one way or the other. I am seeing kind of a flipping, like some people going this way to that way and some people going that way to this way. There's like ships passing in the night. But there's an illusion of safety to something that you're clinging to, and even though it's supposed to provide safety, it hasn't succeeded in bringing you peace of mind. They're not exactly the same thing. So break free from that fake safe thing, only you know what that is, and move towards actual peace of mind and how that looks for you. So that's what I have for now. If you'd like me to pull a clarifier, comment stack 3 and I'll pull one more card just for you. Okay, thank you.